Are ghosts real? In this video, I'll use Taco Talks to show why evangelicals condemn Jesus, not only as a necromancer, but as one who summons demons. I'll also address Taco's claim that no human spirits roam the earth, since his minions, YouTube Shorts theologians as I call them, critiqued my response to Taco. So let's get into it. First of all, Scripture records multiple apparitions of the departed. Samuel, Moses, Onias, Jeremiah, and many saints who just casually stroll the streets in Jerusalem after Christ's resurrection. Even Jesus' own disciples believed in ghosts. I mean, they believed that Jesus was a ghost twice. And yet me believing departed humans, spirits can manifest is now considered absurd. How can you say that, Jacob? Jesus' own disciples believe this. And of course, Taco never explains any of this, why all these departed just could appear. And he never argues that they had received their final bodily resurrection. He never denies that these apparitions occurred. He just calls them, well, that's exceptions. And by calling them exceptions, by the way, his entire argument collapses, because one exception disproves the claim that departed spirits never appear. But of course, the deeper problem is Taco's belief that the dead are unconscious until the resurrection. He believes in soul sleep, which forces him to just explain away every biblical apparition. And ironically, he admits that the medium of Endor summoned Samuel. Exactly what both 1 Samuel and Sirach say. The text says that Saul asks for Samuel. The medium sees Samuel. Saul speaks with Samuel. Samuel prophesies. So the text repeatedly identifies him as Samuel, never a demon. So, and I'm proud of Taco for admitting this, that this is actually Samuel. But of course, Taco calls it an exception. Why? Well, because otherwise soul sleep collapses. To preserve soul sleep, he claims that mediums never actually contact the dead. The medium at Endor is an exception. So she panicked because she somehow expected a demon, but instead she encountered Samuel and she was shocked of what? A human appeared. Like, here's a medium, and she's like, whoa, hold on now. Usually, the departed don't appear. I mean, I'm supposed to contact the dead, but what? It's supposed to be a demon here. What, a human? That's how Taco portrays this account. But the text says nothing like that. And Scripture actually explains why the medium panicked. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried to Saul, "Why have you deceived me? You are Saul." So she's afraid of Saul, not Samuel. She's not like, usually I'm so used to dealing with demons here, now all of a sudden a human appeared. Whoa, what a shock. So she's not afraid of Samuel, she's afraid of Saul. Why? Well, because she'd already said that Saul outlawed mediums, and that necromancy would cost her life. So once she recognized the disguised king Saul, she obviously feared execution. So the text explains her reaction, whereas Taco replaces it with one that the text never gives. Taco's argument gets worse because he claims that the dead simply cannot be contacted. So every apparent encounter is not with human spirits, it's not with the departed, but it's actually really with demons. Of course, Scripture never says that. Deuteronomy 18 forbids inquiring of the dead, not because they cannot be contacted, not because every attempt actually reaches demons instead, not because God chose the wrong words. No, Israel was forbidden to inquire of the dead. If that's impossible, why forbid it? Laws prohibit possible acts, not impossibilities. Moses didn't say, well, people of Israel, don't inquire of the dead because you're really talking to demons. No, every prohibition concerns the dead. So which is more likely? That God meant exactly what he repeatedly said? Or that every time he said the dead, he actually meant the demons? Did God speak carelessly? Did he make a mistake? Did he repeatedly describe the prohibited practice incorrectly? Or maybe he just lied. Maybe God lied. Taco's position requires one of those conclusions. And his argument also depends on another claim, that the Old Testament frequently calls familiar spirits demons, but it never does. In fact, the Old Testament's demonology is relatively undeveloped. The Hebrew shedim, demons, appears only twice, in Deuteronomy 32 and Psalm 106. It actually there refers to lesser foreign deities. And then you have the goat spirits, or the goat demons, the serim, which appears only once in Leviticus 17 and 7. And of course, neither of these, neither the serim or the shirim, refer to familiar spirits, or more accurately, familial spirits. The Hebrew, ov, often translated familiar spirit, is associated with ancestral spirits and necromancy. That's why many translations simply render it ghosts or medium. The Bible distinguishes these categories, but Taco doesn't. Fallen angels, unclean spirits, evil spirits, lying spirits, spirits of divination, deaf and mute spirits, familiar spirits, they're all just demons. Everything is demons. But the Bible never says that. Ironically, the framework that allows Taco to flatten every spirit into a demon doesn't come from Scripture, but from Greek philosophy. His position assumes demons are intelligent intermediaries capable of impersonating departed humans, which is a concept closer to Plato's understanding of daemons than the Old Testament. A concept of demons being intermediary gods, guiding intelligences. So, Scripture distinguishes different kinds of spirit, whereas Taco erases those distinctions and replaces them with pagan categories in which every spirit becomes a demon. And here's the final irony, by the way, because on Taco's own principles, Jesus becomes not only a necromancer, but one who summons demons. At the Transfiguration, he summons Moses. Then at the end of the age, at the resurrection, he will summon every human being. And if every communication with the departed is not only necromancy, but the summoning of demons, Taco's principle doesn't just condemn mediums, it condemns Christ.